Under attack, radio host and frequent RT guest Alex Jones says his websites were assaulted by a, quote, massive, organized and sustained attack. He blames the U.S. government and says this isn't the first time his voice has been silenced. Alex joins us live from Austin, Texas. Alex, thanks so much for joining me. So first of all, I want to ask you, how did you find out about these cyber attacks on your websites? What did you see or hear?
Well, I mean, just to be precise about this, last year during the swine flu situation, we got internal Texas documents that the feds were really at a level 6, and then we got massive distributed denial of service attacks from all over the world, shutting down our sites for part of the time over 2 days. So we don't know the government did this. We suspect it. And I have several great IT guys here. They can see exactly what's happening. We also have software that recognizes it. We have huge servers, CDN systems, and we could just see the massive zombie computer attacks. That's where the hackers go in and access tens of thousands of computers around the globe in businesses, universities, people's homes who don't know they're being used, take the computers over, and then have them make thousands of requests a minute via thousands of computers making thousands of requests a minute until it shuts your website down. And so that was launched yesterday at about 1 p.m. Central. It was launched again at 1 p.m. Central today. So the attack stopped this morning, but then started again this afternoon. Last time, the hackers never contacted us, but we believe it had to do with the flu information that we were putting out and exposing. This time, we're not sure. I had one of the leaders of the Icelandic parliament on, and that's right when the attack started yesterday at 1 o'clock when she joins us. She was Birgitta Jones-Dottir, and she's one of the main leaders of the opposition that successfully got a referendum passed telling the Goldman Sachs oligarchs that the public wasn't going to pay back money to the banks that they didn't owe.
Okay,
and
so
that
Alex,
may have been what it was.
Alex, you said that sites that pose a fundamental threat to the anti-free speech agenda of the elite are being targeted. What do you mean by that?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Kurt Nimmo at Infowars.com, Paul Watson at PrisonPlanet.com have linked to Pentagon papers and speeches the last 2 years with the new cybersecurity command that they've already set up before the law's even been passed, saying they're going to counter American bloggers domestically with disinformation. Cass Sunstein at the White House has said they're going to try to provocateur violence. They've said that they will hack and attack sites inside the United States that are anti-war, that are anti-Federal Reserve, that are anti-banking takeovers. And so we know this is going on. We know the White House is openly talking about this in this administration and the last administration. And we know that the government's also in the past been caught launching cyber attacks on itself as a pretext to take over the internet. And Wired Magazine reported last Friday that the cybersecurity bill is the end of the open internet. They are openly setting up draconian censorship and regulation of our internet that is even more oppressive than what China has. And of course, the United States created what is the internet today, DARPA, and the CIA created it. In-Q-Tel, of course, has funded Google and others. So they control much of the world infrastructure. And Yahoo and Microsoft helped build the censorship systems in China, so they certainly know how to do it. And so we know the government has said that they will attack people they disagree with. We know they've gone after Cryptome. We know they've gone after WikiLeaks. We know the Italian government's going after folks.
Yeah, Alex, and you know, that's something that we're talking about a lot here on RT, about the whole issue of internet freedom, especially when it comes to Google and China. But I want to move on to this whole article that Jesse Ventura wrote in the Huffington Post. You know, the Huffington Post ended up killing that article, which he wrote about 9/11, saying that they don't support conspiracy theories. Obviously, this goes along with our whole theme about a free internet. What did you make of that?
Oh, that's a great question. I actually interviewed Dick Russell, the co-author with Jesse Ventura, and I got a call yesterday from Ventura's people telling me that this had happened. And we have the censored article actually up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com for now, because they've also been being attacked. So we hope people get through these different hoops with all this censorship. But the Huffington Post invited Jesse Ventura to write 2 articles for them. They did publish one last week about U.S. government drug dealing and left that up. But 1 hour after this went up on the Huffington Post, they pulled it down and put out a letter to them saying, we will not allow any conspiracy theories on the Huffington Post. But I think this has backfired on them because now the book, American Conspiracies, that is really has a lot of powerful information in it, is just getting more attention because of this censorship. But there is a massive persecution going on in the United States against 9/11 Truth. I predicted 3 months ago that we would see staged events in the U.S. or provocateur events to be blamed on 9/11 Truth. 9/11 Truth had never engaged in any violence before. It's all about being nonviolent and exposing false flag, staged government terror. And then suddenly, controlled pundits across the political spectrum began saying that 9/11 Truth was going to stage violent attacks in the U.S. in the next few months. They were prepping the public for it. So when we saw it happen, we knew that the Pentagon situation had all the earmarks of a staged event.
And Alex, you know, Alex, it goes beyond just 9/11 too. You know, I was listening to an interview that Jesse Ventura had done about his contract with MSNBC and how MSNBC basically cut him after he spoke out against the war in Iraq. I mean, is that part of the problem here, that the mainstream isn't willing to question things enough and simply accepts the information it's being given and then writes off these ideas as conspiracy theories? I mean, what do you think?
Yes. Questioning anything that, look, I was on CBC radio yesterday, and they said it was a conspiracy theory that our government lied about WMDs in a premeditated fashion when that's in the Downing Street memo and the White House memo 100% confirmed. They are bullying and censoring people. It's like the Dixie Chicks when they said we're against the war in 2003, and there was a national censorship boycott run by the media and the government to try to destroy free speech in America. And Jesse Ventura, 1 month into being governor, was called into the Capitol basement, and there were 23 members of the CIA basically telling him that they were in charge and not saying who their names were. And he said, well, I'm not going to talk to you if you don't tell me who your names are. That's the truth. I mean, most are police chiefs. Most of our sheriffs are put in by the feds. The CIA runs almost every major city in the U.S. And so the American people are finding out that we're not in as free a country as we thought, and that we have this shadow government, narcotics trafficking, money laundering, staging terror, running everything. And the American people are getting upset because it was one thing to have a shadow government when we still had money and our homes. But now the banks are taking everything we got and destroying the nation. And
I think that's a great point, and unfortunately that's all the time we have for right now. But, you know, Jesse Ventura has a lot to say about the U.S. government's position on 9/11 and the Huffington Post removing his article. And he spoke with RT's Anastasia Churkina about it. You can read his comments on RT.com and catch the interview tomorrow night right here on RT.